Preface. This book is pragmatical, not philosophical, a practical manual, not a treatise upon theories. It is intended for the men and women whose most pressing need is for money, who wish to get rich first and philosophize afterward. It is for those who have, so far, found neither the time, the means, nor the opportunity to go deeply into the study of metaphysics, but who want results and who are willing to take the conclusions of science as a basis for action, without going into all the processes by which these conclusions were reached. It is expected that the reader will take the fundamental statements upon faith, just as he would take statements concerning a law of electrical action if they were promulgated by a Marconi or an Edison, and taking the statements upon faith, that he will prove their truth by acting upon them without fear or hesitation. Every man or woman who does this will certainly get rich, for the science herein applied is an exact science, and failure is impossible. For the benefit, however, of those who wish to investigate philosophical theories and so secure a logical basis for faith, I will here cite certain authorities. The monistic theory of the universe, the theory that one is all and that all is one, that one substance manifests itself as the seemingly many elements of the material world, is of Hindu origin and has been gradually winning its way into the thought of the Western world for 200 years. It is the foundation of all the Oriental philosophies, and of those of Descartes, Spinoza, Leibniz, Schopenhauer, Hegel, and Emerson. In writing this book, I have sacrificed all other considerations to plainness and simplicity of style so that all might understand. The plan of action laid down herein was deduced from the conclusions of philosophy. It has been thoroughly tested and bears the supreme test of practical experiment. It works. If you wish to know how the conclusions were arrived at, read the writings of the authors mentioned above. And if you wish to reap the fruits of their philosophies in actual practice, read this book and do exactly as it tells you. So all I really have to say about this before getting into the actual chapters of the book is that what he says here about taking things on faith is critical. If you sit around trying to think of ways that this isn't true, if you pick apart every statement that is made in a definitive and absolute way and try to come up with ways it's not true, you're doing the opposite of what you need to be doing in order to get ahead with this. And this is where I think many, many, many people just begin the process of failure. It can be difficult to do that. It can be difficult to take something on faith. It's a lot easier, I think, to do this when you're younger and you've had less competing evidence for a lot of what's said in this book. But it really doesn't matter, because as he'll say later in this book, and you'll see, your level of success is going to be proportionate with how much faith you're able to have, how much you're able to drop the mentality that you have that is opposing anything you read in here. I read this 20 years ago, and I have gotten rich in every imaginable way. And it's thanks to having adopted the mentality of this entire book. This book taught me how to think when I was 24 years old, and it's been absorbed so fully that I couldn't even believe it as I was going through this. I haven't read this book in a while, and I've always looked to it as kind of my Bible, like this is what made me. I didn't realize just the extent to how much every part of this book has become a part of my life, and how every part of it, everything he says about it, is true. That's my testimony for the rest of this book, and I hope you can take it on faith. Exactly as he says. The same way that you don't understand how a mechanical system works, you know it does. You can still use it. That's the way to approach this. So, I will be back shortly with chapter 1.